What's going on, everyone? This is Studio Talk, and I'm your host, Dave Cirino, back again. And we have Steve Cirino joining us again today. Steve, thanks again, and welcome, man.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, it's been a minute, man. How's everything been going on your side, man?
All right, no complaints, no complaints. Just no down on the East Coast, we're dealing with that the smoke thing from Canada. So it's been a process. Sure that everyone's good, and I'm glad things are starting to smooth over a little bit. So that's good.
Bro, for real. Like I interviewed Castlewood Park on our last, actually it was just like 2 days ago or so, and I mentioned it too, man. Like the smoke from Canada, the Canada wildfires came in New York, Philly, Pennsylvania, New York, Jersey, tri-state area, and probably affected a lot of other parts of the country. Very interesting, man. But I was talking about like going green and like respecting our planet and our environment, man. And I just want to use this opportunity to to really just hone in on the fact that you know life is beautiful, life is precious, and we have, as you get older, you have a family, you have children, and you want them to grow up healthy and have peace in this world, man. And we have to do our part to respect the planet, you know what I'm saying, whether that's recycling, going green, eating organic foods, whatever you can do in your community to help out, because this climate change thing is real, man. So as evidence from the wildfires, the smoke, the air pollution, the air quality was terrible. You couldn't even go outside.
Yeah, it was. It's like you said, thinking about what the future looks like, and one small thing that we can do to help. Doesn't have to be can be a big thing, but also can just be simple things such as, turn the water off while you brush your teeth, right? Those types of things.
Yeah.
Have opportunity to looking for a new vehicle, and you have the the finances to get one. You
Hmm.
know, Obviously, I know electric vehicles are a little bit more expensive, but finding thinking about those different types of options if you're able to. But
Yeah.
yeah, definitely being a part of it, that smoke made you really think about those things a little more deeper.
Make you think about life for real when you're going through it, right?
Yeah, yeah,
We want to be around as independent, as not just independent artists and musicians, but as human beings, man, just to be on this planet, man.
yeah, sure.
Yeah, so let's get into this, man. You know, we talk a lot about the business side of you and I, on the music stuff, but I wanted to actually kind of flip it on you're I would consider you, one of the best, one of the better producers that I know, and I'm not just saying that because we're family. I think you're an incredible producer. And I'm just gonna give you flowers now, man. You're my brother, but I wanted to let you know, man. I think you're an incredible producer, very creative, and you make amazing music, man. Amazing tracks, and you have a very creative mind. And I wouldn't be in a position where I'm at musically without your help and your assistance, man. So, um, I wanted to ask you, as a producer, and you're also a DJ, as a producer and a DJ, kind of like, who were some of your influences, what I mean, growing up, and what made you decide to get into like production?
Yeah, I mean, as a college student, undergrad college student, I was always into music. I DJ'd at my college radio station, Indiana State University, and I really got into, always been locked into the hip hop culture, hip hop music. Jay Dilla's one of my inspirations, producer wise. Pharrell Williams, kind of the names that a lot of people throw out there, but they were true inspirations on my end. Um, so I just really just locked into the way that they create their content, their music, things like that, their production, and figured out how I could do it. And it was a long process. I was also into a lot of EDM, electronic dance music in high school and also college. Sometimes I got made fun. People made fun of me for listening to dance music, stuff like that, which is interesting, right? Because usually, like, hey, you see someone in the Black community, it's usually, oh, what you listen to? And I listen to these types of artists. Um, people are like, well, what do you, what is that? What kind of music is that?
Mm,
And it was interesting how, in some cases, it got made fun of for listening to electronic dance music. Um, but that type of that stuff really influenced me as well. Like Daft Punk, those types of creatives really helped to influence the way that I create music.
oh, that's
Um,
awesome.
and again, this is my personal experience. I'm not saying this is across the board. Everyone may not have that experience the way that I had it. Uh, but I kind of infused those types of styles, influences into making my own type of music. So when I was DJing, I would obviously cater to crowd, to the audience. So whatever type of music they would want me to play, I'll make sure that I played it. And obviously to my own liking and my own taste of style. I wasn't doing necessary genres of music that I wasn't anchored in. Um, but then after DJing, started dabbling in how to produce, how to make that happen, learn how to play chords and stuff like that on piano when I
Hmm.
was younger. So circled back to spend some time learning chords and
Yeah,
and how to play, not from a professional pianist type of way, but just to know how chords work, how to
yeah,
transition, things like that. But that took many years, many years of just working nine to five, coming home and spending an hour or two just learning, listening to music, and try to put things together. And again, those that's kind of where I got to where I am now. And yeah, yeah.
it's funny. It's funny. I remember when you were learning chords and you were getting really good. Like you were getting to the point where I was like, damn, I gotta I gotta step my game up a little bit. Like my little brother's coming for me. Like I wasn't thinking like, what I mean, like that, but I was like noticing like, wow, he's getting really good, man. Yeah, and I'm that's good that you mentioned. I'm glad that you actually mentioned I think I took Danger Mouse's master class, and he said in his master class that he doesn't know he actually doesn't know how to play any chords at all. He just like you ever taken his class at all?
Um,
He mentioned that. I don't know what he's doing now, but at that time he had said in his class that he's like, I don't play chords. I don't know how to play piano, bro. I just you know listen to the sounds on the on the computer and I put it together. So some producers are like that. I meant to ask you. So what's your process of making a beat? Like is there like a certain like process you go through when you're making a beat, and also like what types of gear do you use, and would you recommend for artists trying to learn how to produce?
Well, I want to say, like, I think to each their own. I think you have to really go into what you feel comfortable with. I know, kind of learning the chords and keys. We had a Yamaha motif that you had that I kind of just borrowed in a sense to
Yeah,
learn. But like you have like the Novation, you know, where you can kind of plug into your laptop computer and just still play chords, powered by like a Logic Pro, which is what I use. But again, each their own. I know Ableton is something that many artists are using now, Fruity Loops, those types of things. But me personally, it was definitely Logic, and I'm plugging into my Novation into my computer to trigger those sounds. My creative process is it's like I have moments. Going back to practice, I want to anchor everyone into practicing. It's daunting, it's tiring. Who wants to practice doing the same things over and over again? But that's how you really get better, right? In anything. So it's just practicing, practicing, practicing. But I think when it comes to producing, for me personally, it's more about moments. I can't, like, right now, if you tell me to produce something, I wouldn't be able to, because I'm not in that moment. Um,
mm-hmm.
I'm not in that. I don't have a connection right now to just go in and rock something out. So I have to wait, and it's kind of interesting because it's kind of like, I don't know when that moment is, but there's be a time where out of nowhere I get like this feeling of I need to make music, and there be times where I can make 20 tracks in a day, just boom, and there's 20 tracks that I can use for multiple years.
Yeah.
Um, it's really about those moments. And what I typically do is I listen to a specific genre or specific sounds. Like I follow this collective called Selection. I don't know, Joe K. And again, thinking about different types of music genres, and I just kind of zone in, get my vibe going. Or I listen to some old Pharrell, listen to some Jay Dilla, those types of artists,
Mm,
producers, and Timbaland, those types of artists.
mm-hmm.
Um, and I start to think about how I can ingest and then outtake. Also going back to other types of genres, other types of music like Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder,
Mm-hmm.
um, Otis Redding, those types of singers, and really anchoring into those sounds and those moments, and just starting the output. So I start out with the drum,
Yeah.
um, and then manipulating the BPM, seeing what kind of if I want it to be a more of a dancey type of vibe, or more of a soul, looking at like 80, 90 BPM, or 110 to 120.
Mm-hmm.
Up from there, just playing some keys over it, some chords, looking at some synth sounds,
Mm-hmm.
and it's building off of that from there. And I look at my songs as like production is not just as like, oh, here's a loop, and nothing against loops. Loops are incredible. But I try to make this track actual like a composition where like here's the intro, here's the chorus, here are the verses, here is the bridge. So if I'm working with someone like yourself or whoever, it feels as though it's not just like here's a loop. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
Gives them a nice stage.
Yeah, it's interesting because you touched on a couple things. Yeah, your process is very interesting. I usually when I'm like a chords guy and sim, so sometimes when I'm making a track, I'll actually just hit play some chords, and then I'm like, okay, let me lay this kick this snare on top of that, or just stick on it, and then come in with that kick, and then sometimes I'm like you, just kind of like start with the drums, add some layers on top of it, and then break it down. So it's interesting to always talk to fellow producers to see what the process is. You mentioned you said a key word, moments, and that kind of is a perfect transition into my next kind of topic is about singing, because like you're also a singer. You and I we grew up together singing first, and it's funny because when like if I tell somebody that I'm a singer, or I'm an R&B singer on the streets or something like that, like, oh, what do you do? Like if I'm not talking about like my day job or something, and talking about my creative career, and they ask me to sing something, right? And it's not that I can't sing something on the spot, but it's like it's a really vulnerable moment, like when you ex, you know express yourself. You're sharing a gift that was given to you, and some people are different. Some people can just sing on the job of a dime, hit whatever they got to hit. Some people are very vulnerable, especially a lot of artists. And it's like for me, like it has to be the right moment, the right if I feel like intense energy coming from somebody, like I feel like it's gonna be critiques and negative energy, it affects the way I'm gonna sing. You know what I'm saying? So like it has to be the right moment. And I like the way that you said that, man. So true. I wanted to talk about singing because you and I we grew up in high school choir. We had an amazing choir director named Mr. Wishart. He was awesome, and we went to Florida, and we were in men's choir. We should have won, but we got number two. We were the second best men's choir in the entire nation. The entire nation at the Orlando competition, Disney World, and that for me has always been just like one of the highlights of my life, man. Winning that trophy, and we didn't take home the gold, but man, we took home that silver, and that silver looked real good. And taking home that trophy was an accomplishment, man. And we had, I don't know how many guys we had, maybe I want to say eight to ten guys, and we crushed it, man. Um, and that's how we started off, man. And then you know, you got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, and yeah, like, I think to your point, like some people, and this music industry is kind of has that kind of those moments of, hey, sing right now and see what you have,
Right.
or you play the guitar, okay, bust out your guitar and start rocking away. Like
Yeah.
this is your moment, this is your moment to shine. But many people, yeah, think about the way that people really approach their creative gifts and their practice, and many people don't like to publicly share their gifts right on the drop of right of a drop of a hat. 'Cause everyone operates differently, and I think just myself learning those things that we all are different in the way that we approach things, and the way that we're able to communicate, whether that's speaking in front of people, singing in front of people, those types of things. So I would say it's like you have to work into where you fit and where you feel comfortable. Not say you can't expand yourself, but
Yeah.
that's what the name that. And kind of going back to what I was talking about with EDM and things of that nature, how that kind of influenced me, looking at, just want to name some, influencers on my end as well. I said mentioned Daft Punk, but think about like Carl Cox and Frankie Knuckles, those types of artists that really got me into the rhythm, and expanding the rhythm into looking at vocals, how you can. Many years ago we talked about this thing of creating this like electro soul type of genre. This is before like all the really subgenres started to come into play. It was
Hmm.
kind of aligning like the nice that kind of dance music into that world, and it really came from just like love of singing, harmonizing. That's what choir came into play, learning those types of things. Because sometimes you think about, oh, I'm a singer, that has to be my creative practice. It can be, but also it can help with producing, right? So you're in the studio and you're able to listen to someone's line in the chorus and say, okay, here's an actual harmony to it. Boom. So now it becomes not just like you being a beat maker, but you're now truly producing someone through a song.
Hmm.
So singing in itself is so important. Those of you as producers, whether you can sing or not, to be able to study the art of singing, align yourself with people, vocalists.
Hmm.
They're think about this. Vocalists are that's their instrument, their vocal, right? Their vocals, and it's just magnificent to see vocalists be able to just hit these notes and the ranges that you see and the harmonies and just studying that as well on top of your whatever it's producing, playing your instrument. It can be very, very beneficial. And that's why singing is really important to me, and I love to sing to this day.
Hmm.
May not be like recording my own vocals, but it helps with producing, right? It helps you, I believe, become a better producer when you can really understand the art of a vocalist.
Wow. Also, like with the singing, like when I went to Montclair State, I was in the gospel choir. And that just like really that pushed me to a whole nother level. Singing, I was singing in the gospel choir for 2 years, and not only that, we sang in the church choir too, man. In Jersey in VOD, and we was in a church choir for years. So we grew up in the church, man. And when we were living in North Jersey, right outside of New York City, there was a school called the Vocal Workout um, School that you pushed me to go to, and you was like, "Yo, you got to do this school, man." And I think I went this. I don't remember how long I was. It was like a year, maybe close to a
Yeah,
year. Yeah, it was about a year or so. And they had different semesters and stuff. Which was it was like crazy. It was like holistic singing, man, and they taught you how to sing like from the soul, bro. Like it was really an experience. It changed my life, man. Vocally, uh, to where like they talked about so many different spiritual principles with vocals, the chambers of the body, the arch, uh, different riffs, runs, uh, frequencies, hitting the like narrow frequency, wide frequencies. And there was a point to where like, I came in there thinking I was good. But then when I heard some of the singers, man, I was like, damn, bro. Like, and it just, that school humbled me. And there was one point where she was like, you're not hitting the wide frequency at all. Like, they were very nice, but they were like, you're not hitting the wide frequency at all. Like she said, you have a very nice voice and a very nice tone. But We want to get you to learn how to use your voice. So that's where I learned how to use the wide frequency better. And my wide frequency is like Donny Hathaway, like how he sings. A narrow frequency would be like Erica Badu, like a nasal, more nasal sound. I was very strong on my nasal narrow frequencies, but my wides were non-existent. But they helped me to learn how to utilize different variations in vocal technique that really helped my singing, man. Like that transformed my singing. You know what I mean? That transformed it. And then I took a course that uh I didn't go to Juilliard, but Juilliard has a vocal course from the 70s, bro. Yeah, bro. Archives. I took a Juilliard course on vocals, and it's so funny that everything that I learned on that vocal from the Juilliard course was what they were teaching me at vocal technique at vocal workout in New York City. Amazing. So I wanted to thank you for pushing me to do that class, man.
Yeah, and it's like, it's I tell any creator, any artist, it all comes down to your art at the end of the day. It's like you can have all these different strategies and more on business side, things like that. But at the end of the day, it's gonna come back, it comes back to the product, right? So it's like, yeah, you can draw people to your album, to your song, all those types of things. But you as a creative, if the music has to land, and it really comes back to just investing in your creative practice. And I always, tell people, I know there's a narrative around there that we hear a lot now about, should you be going to college? Should you be doing these types of things? And the best investment that anyone can make individually is an investment in yourself, right? So people can talk about this or talk about that, but I'm like, at the end of the day, that was an investment in myself.
Preach.
You investing in okay, how do I expand my vocal range? How do I expand my vocals? How do I expand my creative practice? How do I expand myself as a producer? And again, there's many things you can find online. I get that, but there's something valuable about being with a group of people that can feel your energy, can really hear and understand where you're coming from, get to understand your context, right? It's really great to see things online, but that person that's telling you in the videos, they're not there with you, right?
Yeah.
They don't know who you are. They
Yeah.
can't. They don't know your experiences. They don't know your context. They don't know your culture or your the community that you're in.
Yeah.
All that stuff matters. And this is why taking these types of courses, going to get your degree in these areas is so valuable, because it's not just about the content. I can Google anything and find out about it.
Yeah.
About the culture that it's going to help to expand your creative practice and your art form.
Preach. Listen to this man. He knows what he's talking about. Um, we got 10 minutes left, man. Zoom's hit me with that upgrade button. Upgrade, you got 10 minutes. We talked about this when I interviewed Casper Park too. It was funny. Um, this is actually my last question, man. I kind of wanted to just touch on this. The differences between engineers, the differences between recording engineer, mix engineer, mastering engineer. I wanted to bring it up because a lot of people just don't really understand the reason why I wanted to bring it up, because when I was talking about my music, I was talking to someone and they said something about I said something about mastering. I was like, oh yeah, the album's done, but I have to get it mastered. And they're like, what do you mean? What is that? Like, don't you once you record it, isn't it just done? So like, I think that's a lot of the public perception is people don't actually understand that it breaks out into different engineers, man. Recording, mixing, mastering. So I kind of wanted to just talk about that for just general awareness, just to let people know that a lot of work goes into creating your projects. Um,
Yeah. No, I'm glad you bring that up. There's a lot of work that goes into it, and many people, or some people, can do all of those things
yeah,
on their own. But there are actual individuals who um, specialize in those particular areas. And again, there are people that can do everything.
yeah,
But you have recording engineers in that studio with you. Sometimes it is producer as well who's doing all these things.
yeah,
Um,
that's
but
true.
they're recording that recording sessions. We're going to record a song, ensure the studio is set up the way that needs to be set up, vocals are placed right. Everything is lined up correctly. All the files are and metadata information is formatted correctly. Titles are good, and they're recording that session. They're in there with you, ensuring that that session is executed the way that you envision as an artist. And then after that recording session is done, that recording engineer manages, then you have that mixing engineer. Again, it could be the same person.
Yeah.
It could also be someone that specializes in mastering, or I'm sorry, mixing.
Mm-hmm.
Then they take all those files. Let's just say in the recording session, now you have 20 recorded vocals. You have the live drums and all of those different parts that come with live drums because they can be recorded on separate stems. You
Mm-hmm.
have the keyboard, the bass, the guitar, the saxophone. That mix engineer puts it all together to ensure it sounds like one amazing cohesive work. And they also, this is where you're adding your effects and those different types of things. And mix engineer takes a special type of person.
Yes, it does.
Not necessarily my
It's a tedious
favorite part.
process, bro.
Yeah, not my favorite part of the process. I know you like to mix, but not me.
uh,
Um, and then the mastering again can be the same person, but they come in and take that mix from the mix engineer, which was again given to the mix engineer by the recording engineer. So the master now takes this whole thing and says, okay, how can we now make sure this is commercially viable? What does that actually mean? That means that, think about it from a streaming perspective, when your song is on a playlist with other artists, the master engineers ensuring when they master it to put that commercial polish, no matter what type of genre it is, it flows nicely. So if I'm listening to Rihanna, and then I go down listen to Dave Cirino, and then after that I'm listening to a Beyonce track, it all just sounds the same in regards to volume, right? So this is
right.
what that master engineers ensuring is commercially ready. Say you go to radio, same type of thing. We all been part of those watching TV, and I know you don't have commercials nowadays with Netflix and everything else. But we all had those moments we're watching the show, and commercial comes on, it's way higher than the actual show we're watching. This is why mastering engineer is so important. We're taking all vocals, especially in the streaming era where everything's kind of playlisted and all those other things. It all lines correctly, especially in your album. Make sure everything
Mhm.
volume wise sounds great.
Very true.
That's what the master engineer is doing, is making sure it's commercially viable, ready to go
Yeah.
at that level of commercial use.
Yeah, you know, it's so funny. I don't even have to say anything because everything that you spoke about is exactly what I was gonna say, but you broke it down in such a beautiful way that I'm just gonna let that be. And I'll just say that me as an engineer, I'm all three. I'm a recording engineer, mix engineer, and master engineer. However, I do not master my mixes. I have a guy named Dave Locke in North Carolina who we've been working with since we started, and he's like awesome. He's amazing. Sometimes like you got to take off that hat, man, and just give it to somebody else who's a professional, who knows what he's doing. He or she knows what they're doing, and can help add that polish machine and have the right equipment and the right room and the right ears and the right tune, like everything's tuned properly to where they can have a listen to it without without your input because you're so involved in the project personally. Let somebody else handle that mastering for you. In a pinch, I do know how to master, so that when I'm doing my instrumentals, something like that, I won't pay somebody. I'll master my own instrumentals. But it's good to learn all three, I would say. But my advice would be to definitely pass that off to a mastering engineer. And Yeah, mixing is a creative art form. Um, it's very tedious. It can be fun once you get it to the to the sound. You start getting this to sound how you want it to sound. But man, it can take hours upon hours, man. So, um, but I would definitely recommend. Excuse me. That's that smoke out there, bro. Definitely recommend doing learning all three, man. So that's some good tips.
Yeah, I'll say anyone just should know it again, learn it, and then hire those professionals that can come in when you're like, you know what, I can do it, but I know this person can do it at a higher level. And thinking about just not just I know thinking about the music business and historically thinking about the people in it, people running it, or people in these positions, it's time to diversify. So don't just be thinking about, oh, who's the perfect guy to do this. No,
Mhm.
there's plenty of women in the music business that will run circles or do circles around
Seriously.
their male counterpart in a sense. So I think we have to start thinking about that as well as we're looking to connect, collaborate with creatives in this business, from producers to recording, mixing, master engineers. We had to be thinking about not just from looking at the closest person that we know who happens to be a man, but looking at everyone and really looking at who can add some color to your process.
I love it, man. I love it. As we're gonna wrap up, we got 2 minutes left, man. Just wanted to say thank you, man, for hopping on the season finale um of Studio Talk for or season, the season one finale, and I appreciate you, man. I really do. I wanted to, just quickly, we're gonna get out of here, but just quickly answer my own question. Why am I doing this? Like, I'm doing this because it's like, I- you know, I don't know, man. It's just like I love music. I love creating. I love helping people reach professional levels, man. And I love just the continuous world of learning and knowledge and giving back to your community, and you helping somebody else who may not know how to do something, or iron sharpening iron. We both know how to do it, but let's do it together. Let's make a dope product together. You know what I mean? So um I hope that what we're doing is helping people, man, and giving back in some sort of way. And Yeah, man, the creative process never stops. You know what I mean? Don't stop. Keep doing it, man.
Yeah, and thank you for opening the space to have these conversations. And again, there's a point where you realize, okay, how can I start giving back to my community? Whether it's one person, two people that you can help along the way. And I think these conversations are very important and can be very impactful to that next generation, or our generation, or generation above us who's looking to go back and do their creative practice. So I think it all can hit all wavelengths.
Steve, thank you as always, bro. We're gonna head out of here, man. Enjoy your day.
All right, you too.
I'm
Thanks
not
again.
gonna, we're not gonna get cut off from Zoom. We're gonna stop before Zoom cuts us off, man. But yo, I'm
All
gonna
right,
holler at you, man. Let me stop this recording.
peace.
Translate.